Gloucestershire went down by 7 wickets with 10 balls unused in Cheltenham, a T20 blast defeat to Surrey, which means that they still have all to play for with 1 game left. Put in knowing that a win would guarantee a place in the quarter-finals, Gloucestershire made an encouraging start through their openers Miles Hammond and Benny Howell, who both enjoyed taking on an inexperienced Surrey attack, an attack diminished by both injuries and call-ups to the 100. Yet even the more experienced Jordan Clark found Hammond in fine touch, the bowler's first delivery being dispatched into the distance by the left-hander. Hammond had quickly moved on to 25 from 14 balls when he then unluckily dragged the delivery from Gus Atkinson back onto his stumps, the batsman leaving with his side on 45 for 1 in the 5th over. The total had reached 62 for 1 by the end of the 6 overs of power play. Howell still going along nicely on a day ideal for cricket in perfect surroundings. But Gloucestershire were 2 down in the 8th. Ian Cobain going after Dan Moriarty but missing. An elementary dismissal with the batsman gone for 10. Howell followed in the next over. This ball from Gareth Batty just clipping the bails as the opener departed for 30. The home team getting to 85 for 3 at the halfway stage of their innings. James Bracey then skied a shot off the evergreen and ever-dependable Batty to Laurie Evans to fall for 8, and that left the Shire in a spot of bother. So now was the ideal time for Jack Taylor to play a captain's knock, and in partnership with Glenn Phillips, he ensured that the scoreboard kept ticking over in spite of those losses. The 100 arrived in the 13th over of the innings. And then Phillips took over. He has proved to be an inspirational signing for this competition in particular. His stats in this format are incredible, and he showed just why with an array of marvellous shots. When he hits a ball, it certainly stays hit, as many a bowler has discovered this summer, and this innings was no different. It mattered not who was given the ball to try to work out his weaknesses. On this evidence, it appears that he doesn't have any. Put the ball in his arc, and more often than not, you'll be asking for the hand sanitizer to get the ball back. He dominated a 5th wicket stand of 51. Taylor had made 14 of those when he was bowled on the cut by Moriarty. And Phillips followed, crucially, at the start of the next over, the 17th, as for once he didn't get fully hold of a shot off Atkinson and picked out Rory Burns in the deep. Phillips's 48 had used up 26 balls and included 2 4s and 4 6s. George Scott and Ryan Higgins took the total beyond 150 with a couple of overs to go, but when both were out in successive deliveries, it looked as if Gloucestershire would fall short of a really challenging total. Higgins on a dozen sliced a shot off Atkinson to Ricky Clark, and Scott went in an almost identical fashion with 7 runs to his name. Gloucestershire left on 158 for 8. Dan Worrell and Tom Smith then added some important late runs, their side eventually ending with a total of 177 to defend. Smith out to the last ball, coming back for a second which was never really on, especially after a stumble at the turn. 177 for 9 was the kind of score to give hope, if not any certainty of claiming the 2 very important points. And it was then Surrey who won the power play in the reply. Both Jamie Smith and Will Jack struck early maximums as 48 runs were removed from the target in the first 5 overs, not what the home supporters were hoping for. Josh Shaw gave them something to cheer about as he had Jacks well held in the deep off another slice. There were more here than in Sandwich. Scott with the catch. The Gloucesters would have been begging that the adage that 1 brings 2 came true, but on this occasion it didn't, and Smith and Evans were soon batting their team into a winning position without taking too many risks. Halfway through the chase, Surrey had made 88 for 1 and needed another 90 for the remaining 10 overs. Evans then took the game firmly away from the hosts. He pretty much played the role that Phillips had done with a bat for Gloucestershire, the difference being that he had a man at the other end who continued to offer support. The 12th over, delivered by Phillips, cost 19 runs and put Surrey firmly in the box seat. Smith completed his 50 off 37 balls, an ideal effort from an opener, and by the time he was sent packing, he'd done enough to ensure that it was his side which would be tasting victory. By the time he was bowled by Howell for 60, Surrey had made 140 and now needed only 38 more from 33 deliveries, a walk in the park these days. His partnership with Evans had realised 87 runs, and then the latter moved to his own half-century off 31 deliveries before he belted Worrell into the distance. He was finally dismissed for 58, plugging a shot off Higgins to Taylor. But alas, the game was ended with 10 balls still left. Tim David with the final boundary, which has now left Gloucestershire's qualifications for the knockout stages in the balance, with just one match remaining. They lost this contest by 7 wickets and will now need to win in Taunton against rival Somerset on Sunday afternoon to progress further. It should be a West Country classic.